The Tories think they may have salvaged their election hopes with the plan to bring back national service. But is that really going to do the job? And crucially, as well, we need some detail on this, don't we? Who's exempt? Who is going to be exempt from this? I caught up with Minister of State for Enterprise Markets and Small Business, Kevin Hollinrake, earlier today.
€18 will be exempt from it when it's in place. It will be introduced flexibly. It's subject to a Royal Commission who are going to put the detail, are going to inform us about what the right way to do it is. But the intention is that every 18-year-old will do it. It will work flexibly so that people can potentially do their service around other commitments they have, such as some work commitments where that's required. But there's no exemption as such.
Because conceivably that could include footballers who play for England, couldn't it?
Yes, exactly. And that's why you want to make sure that they can do it in the time they're not playing football for England, which we clearly want them to do.
So you would be happy for 18-year-old English footballers to be doing a bit of national service on the side, yeah?
Well, I remember distinctly, you're too young to remember, Patrick, but Elvis Presley doing his service as a GI. I don't know if you remember that, but I think it's fantastic that we all play our parts. It's fantastic that we contribute towards our society, and I think that builds pride in the country. And I think the people I speak to on the doorstep feel the same.
I think Jude Bellingham should stay in Spain as a result of that. But anyway, look, another proposal from the Conservative Party this week was scrapping these so-called Mickey Mouse university degrees, so basically courses that don't propel graduates into well-paid jobs. Instead, there will be an increase in spending on apprenticeships. But look, what are these real Mickey Mouse degrees? Again, it would be nice to have a bit more detail, wouldn't it?
Degrees are ones where people don't get a decent job, so they just go through the process of getting a degree, and they might even get the degree, of course, where dropout rates are very high, or where the people move into jobs that are lowly paid. We're going to give the power to the regulator, the Office for Students, to look at these and advise us which they think are the worst performing courses. So it's not a case of particular universities, it's not a case of picking out and naming and shaming at this stage. It's taking an objective view to which courses are good value in terms of the individual, to make sure those people have good earning power, and also they can contribute to the economy, which we clearly need them to do.
It just strikes me that there was a potential opportunity to have really clamped down on student visas that has not really formed a major part of this campaign. But meanwhile, Reform have got their flagship immigration business tax. So firms would pay a 20% rate of national insurance for foreign workers, up from the current 13.8%. I believe that was originally put forward by Suella Braverman, actually. Should you have done that, do you think?
Well, I wouldn't like to comment. I mean, I think it's interesting policy. I think it's already quite expensive to bring somebody in from abroad, various different in terms of the cost of a visa and the cost of the contribution to the NHS, for example, significant costs for employers. It's all about a balance, making sure our employers can find good people, good skilled people to fill the jobs where we need them to. And we are already clamping down in terms of some of the abuses around student visas, dependents and the like. We're stopping those routes in. So the measures we're putting in already will reduce net migration by around 300,000 a year. So a lot of that work's ongoing. But as well, we need to make sure that the universities are equipping people for good jobs into the future, good jobs for them and good jobs for our economy. We want this.
OK, all right. Well, joining me is Angela Knight, former Conservative MP and Economic Secretary to the Treasury, Bill Rammell, former Labour MP and Minister for the Armed Forces, and Norman Baker, former Liberal Democrat MP and Home Office Minister. Angela, I will start with you on this.
I thought you
might. This national service policy, many people think might be a decent idea in principle, but it has been drawn upon the back of a fag packet, hasn't it?
Well, there doesn't seem to be many details underneath, and that, of course, is why they've said we'll put in place a Royal Commission. But it is quite interesting that it is getting a lot of positive comments, because instinctively we all know that there is something about 18-year-olds coming out, not sure what they're going to do or whatever, and to channel them somewhere, whether it is into community service, which they've got to do on a regular basis, or whether it is something with the armed forces. And interestingly, I asked a few reservists what their view was, and their view was, well, if you put the structure in place, yes, we're quite positive about that. So I don't think that sort of high-level idea is going to go away. And yeah, I would hope that a Royal Commission does get put in place. It can broaden out the question, but I don't think it should put the question away because it's not right for young people who don't quite know what they're doing, where they're going.
Well, it would be nice to have a bit of detail. And, we've just spent a bit of time there talking about Labour's policies and maybe some holes in that. And, I think that there are very much holes in this. I know, Bill, you were shaking your head, but the other one from the Tories, really the big one there, is about these Mickey Mouse university degrees. And that appears to be doing away with Tony Blair's idea that pretty much everyone should go to university. And I think that is a good thing, isn't it? Get the apprenticeships going, get people in trades, no? Well,
I declare an interest. I was a former Armed Forces Minister. I was also the Higher Education Minister that brought in the new Fees Act and the expansion of higher education. What I think is interesting about both these subjects is it's a desperate core vote strategy. It's appealing to the over 65s who are tempted to go to reform. It's not a winning strategy. And in terms of university education, a lot of what people call Mickey Mouse degrees are actually modern vocational degrees that, in another sense, people in the Tory party say that they want to be supported. The
taxpayer shouldn't pay for somebody to do a 3-year tourism management degree or sort of public administration.
Why
are we paying for that?
If it gives you the critical thinking, analytical skills that you need to thrive in the workplace. Every phase of the expansion of higher education has been attacked by people who've got vested interests. And, the Tories talk about expanding apprenticeships. They've actually cut apprenticeships by 40% during their term in office.
All right, Norman, your views on this Mickey Mouse stuff, because that's been one of the big ones today. I mean, people come out, apparently, from university with an average of £45,000 worth of debt, and there are plenty of courses, plenty of them, I've just named a couple there, where even after 5 years out of university, you are not expected to earn more than 22 or 23 grand. Why is the taxpayer paying for all of these people?
Keep them off the unemployment register, I think it's a simple answer. No, I think, honestly, there are degrees which shouldn't be taken forward because there are no prospect of jobs at the end. That's perfectly true. I think it's insulting to call them Mickey Mouse degrees, but nevertheless, that's what they are called. Can I come back to the issue, however, about national service? Because the idea from Bill Hollinrake that England footballers would be forced into national service is an own goal, if you like, in football terms, certainly not worth pursuing. And Bill's right, actually. This is a tack to the right. This is a sense, along with the so-called triple lock plus, this £100 for pensioners. And by the way, pensioners are worse off because they've got no tax threshold increase like everybody else. This is what this is about. It's about trying to make sure the vote on the right doesn't disappear off to reform. But 18 to 24-year-olds, by and large, don't vote. And if they did vote, they wouldn't vote Tory. And
that's why Labour wants to let them vote.
And the one way to galvanise young people to vote is to tell them they've got national service. So it's that's another own goal.
Or load the dice by letting them do it from 16. Look,
but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't. We should not continue to ignore the fact that there are 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds.
Then why did a Tory Defence Minister 2 days before the announcement say that there would be no national service because it would do more harm than good?
Well, because it's all chaos, isn't it? We know it's all chaos.
And the answer is because we're now in an election period, and as you rightly say, outcome policies from all sides.
Sorry about this. We are on the clock. Apologies.